Everybody, Mike here, doing my review of this past episode of The Walking Dead. This one is titled Twice as Far, episode 14 of season 6. Again, I apologize for the late upload. It's been, the past few weeks have been a little bit hectic for me, so I found the weekends have been the best time for me to upload videos, but I do have a lot to say on this episode, and I did predict some of it. I predicted that, although I did predict Tara would die, I did not predict the person who actually did die in the episode. I'm just keeping it spoiler free for right this second, give people a chance if they haven't seen the episode, if they want to watch the episode first before they come watch the review. That's fine. I would recommend that actually, because I will be there will be spoilers from this point on. So this episode to me started out very slow. There wasn't a lot of action. Starts out this endless loop type situation in the beginning. It looks like it's like, oh, we go through the same thing every single day. That's what I got from that. Then you have Denise talking to, well, even before that, you have Rosita gets out of bed, she's with Spencer, and he's, she's trying to get with her. He's like, hey, I want to have some of my, I don't know, beef stroganoff or whatever it was, I don't know. And he's like, well, what is this? Is what, like, and then she's like, fine, dinner. She's really just using it as to get over Abraham, something like that. I think he sees it as a little bit more, so we'll see where that goes. Then we have the whole Denise, Rosita, Daryl. Denise telling them about this apothecary or pharmacy that she passed when everything was going down in the beginning. So they end up, they can pick up some much needed medication and stuff. And she wants to go. They're like, you're not ready, you've never been out there. But she wants to prove herself. So they go. It's a very eerie scene when they get to the apothecary, because you see all the other shops are clean. There's no handprints on them, but there's bloody handprints all over the apothecary window and doors. Why is it only there? From what I was able to gather, the person was holed up there, the walker that Denise found, and from what I gathered, she had a baby. Her foot was broken. You can see the cast. Drowned the baby, killed the baby somehow, drowned the baby in the water to keep it hush, hence the hush, hush, hush written repeatedly. And then she maybe tried to kill herself, failed. Well, she killed herself, but she didn't hit the brain, hence she turned. So my guess is she tried to keep it quiet because of the walkers outside, so her baby was crying. Very tragic story, very reminiscent of the husband and wife in season very first episode. Who killed, had a murder-suicide pact. He shot her, shot himself, and God forgive us on the wall. But when Rick stumbles across the farmhouse where the horse is, excuse me. So they're off. They're in the apothecary. Backtracking a little bit to Abraham and Eugene, who are on their own separate run together. Stumbled upon what Eugene was going to use as a bullet making area. There were machines there that could manufacture bullets. That Eugene came up with the idea that They clean them, have the right materials, enough iron, etc. They can manufacture bullets. Smart. It's a huge thing in the comic books, as well as Eugene had his hair in a ponytail and pulled the mullet back. And then there's the kind of metalhead walker. He had the metal melted on his head, which is my Walker Kill of the Week walker that Eugene called dibs, and he tried to kill it with a machete, but metal bounced right off. Then he started grappling with it a little bit. There was a rebar that I think he was trying to reach for, and then Abraham kills it, which Eugene gets very mad about, and basically says, "You outlive your usefulness," and then Abraham walks out. Which I'm on Eugene's side here. I think he could have handled the walker. He said on Talking Dead he could have probably tripped it and then grabbed the rebar and jammed it up in his neck. Sort of how Maggie dealt with the walkers in season 3 with the riot gear on. Stabbed through the neck, but there's no protection. So that happened. And there was a lot of stupid mistakes in this episode made by Denise. Particularly by Denise. She went off by herself in the pharmacy, which don't know why anybody would do that. You know, what if that walker was mobile and could have, and you know, wasn't held down by a cast and basically all rotted away? She could have died. She could have gotten bit very easily. Not smart. And then also going back to the cooler, making all that noise, and taking the tracks back. I would not have taken the tracks back. Rosita made the mistake of taking the tracks there. So Dwight and the Saviors figured, okay, so there's people here. They'll most likely maybe they'll take the tracks back. So all they had to do was stake out the tracks. And if you're gonna ambush somebody, ambush them on the way back. You already know they went through there. You know they're gonna go back the way they came because he knows they have a settlement. Not smart taking the tracks. Daryl kind of gave in there, and maybe who's to say if they had kept moving that it would have worked out differently? I can't say, but. Going back to the cooler, childish. I would not have done that, and it resulted in Denise getting an arrow in the eye from Dwight. Using Daryl's crossbow, which Daryl feels 100% responsible for now because that's his crossbow that Dwight used to kill Denise. Of course, Dwight was aiming for him, but as he said, kicks like a bitch. Still trying to get the hang of it. That was awesome. You see Dwight, his left side of his face was all burnt. I'm not going to disclose what happened there, but hopefully we'll find out in the show. We do find out in the comics why that happens, but that was very interesting. I was waiting for that. I was hoping they would do it, and they did. I predicted that Tara would get this death, because in the comics it is Abraham, but I heard that Kirkman regretted killing Abraham in that way, so I figured I knew they were going to change it up somehow, but I was like, Tara's been getting a lot of time lately. You know, she was going to be out on the run, but turns out it was Denise, which makes it so much worse because Tara said, I love you. Denise never got around to saying it back. She said, oh, I'll say it when you get back. Just tragic, and you kind of know when something like that happens, it's not going to work out well. So, and then Eugene, so Dwight wants them to be, Daryl, Rosita, Denise, Denise said Daryl and Rosita to take him back to Alexandria so that they can take whatever they want. Daryl's very quiet. The only thing he says is, I should have killed you. And Dwight's like, probably should have. And then he says, oh, I'll kill Eugene here, Rosita, Daryl. one by one if you don't take us to your camp, to your settlement, whatever. So that happens, but then Eugene notices that Abraham is hiding behind barrels behind the Saviors, and he kind of gives away Abraham's position, but not to get him killed. But he does say, if there's anyone wants deserves to die, it should be that our compadre or whatever. I forget the term he used. Over behind the barrels, he's a grade A asshole, and he deserves to die. So that serves as a distraction. Dwight sends men over there to go check it out, and pulls his gun out, which allowed Eugene the opportunity to take a bite. That scene kind of always made me laugh in the comics. It just bit his crotch. No other way of saying it. And resulted in the Abraham firing on the Saviors, Daryl getting a nice throat slitting, getting his hands on guns, him and Rosita get into a firefight with the Saviors. Eugene ends up getting a bullet, but it isn't life-threatening. And Dwight ends up retreating. Daryl's about to fire his crossbow, but Rosita says stop, and they end up taking Denise. They eventually take Denise back, but they carry Eugene, who, because of Denise having them go to the pharmacy, lives through it. Even it just grazed him. It wasn't a serious thing, but the medication definitely did help. Abraham goes to Sasha. She invites him in. Sort of things probably go on there. So you can tell Daryl feels responsibility because he's doing a shot while he's burying Denise. Very, very sad. I was disappointed that they gave that death to Denise. I'll be honest. I feel like Abraham honestly would have been a better candidate to get that death. I'm not a huge fan of Abraham's character right now. After how he didn't let Eugene prove himself, didn't let Eugene handle one Walker, and how he treated Rosita. That was totally uncalled for. The way he worded it. I thought you were the only woman in the world. You're not. Harsh. You could have said anything but that to break up with her. So I would have preferred Abraham to get that death. But okay, I already went over Carol leaving. What's going to happen with that in the next episode? The next episode is going to focus heavily on Carol's departure from the group. She clearly is affected by having to kill people. Maybe crisis of conscience. Who knows? But that was a huge thing. This episode going into episode 15. But I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Walker Kill of the Week, as I said, is the Metalhead Walker and the Eugene and Abraham. And my top 5 moments. Number 5 is the apothecary scene. Number 4 is Denise's death scene, because it's an iconic scene from the comics. Number 3 is Abraham and Eugene, their whole adventure. 2 is the bullet making plan. That's a huge comic book moment. And then 1 is the return of Dwight, just because he's a huge comic book character. I was waiting for his return. I had a feeling it would be in this episode. And I knew exactly who Dwight was in the show, because they did kind of confirm it, that it was the guy that Daryl bumped into in episode 6. Which was awesome. He's an awesome character. I know everybody's really hating him right now, but for good reason. But he's an interesting character regardless of what direction they take him in the show. I know what happened in the comics, but I am not spoiling it. because I want everybody to discover it on their own in the show. But he is one of my favorite comic book characters, so I'm really excited to see him appear in the show. And with that, I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10, just because of the ending. If the whole Dwight thing didn't happen, I probably would give this one a 9. I know I tend to rate these episodes very highly. Anything that has a huge comic book moment in it, I tend to rate very high, but this one gets a 10 for me. And I'll have my predictions video for episode 15 up shortly. And Mike saying peace.